Okay, everybody, Dr. Anderson here. Hopefully you're joining us here with, we have Jen and we have Brianna. Brianna, who just nodded her head, was a patient here with a thumbs up. She came here from down in Florida for a reversal of her, Georgia, I'm sorry.
One of those southern.
Close, boy, I thought one, anyway. We can't start over. We can't rehearse this over again. So they're in Georgia speaking to us. And Jen over there to the right is her sidekick. They're like peanut butter and jelly. They go together and they both came here. But her story goes back to about November of 2023. And I'm really appreciative of her to get on tonight to kind of explain her story with restless legs and how we had really good success with reversing her restless legs, because this is all about people coming from a distance like she did. She took the time and energy and all the things that you have to sacrifice to come here with the hopes of restless legs being reversed. And so, I mean, I just kind of explain a little bit about what kind of how you came about this and how you found out about us. And because it took you a while to start to make the decision to come, right, Brianna?
I knew I knew about you for and I was doing research about you for about 4 years.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
and I found out about you from one of the Facebook groups, one of the RLS Facebook groups.
Okay.
And yeah, finally I just had enough. I was like, it's time.
Right. Okay. I mean, but it took about 4 years.
It took about 4 years to make this decision, yes.
What took you so long? If I may ask, did you question it, or what questions do you think you had?
I mean, everybody gets to a certain point where they are just done, and I've had it.
Right.
I've had it for almost 20, or I had it for almost 20 years, and
Right.
I maybe turning 40. I turned
Right.
40 this past year, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this.
Okay.
Like, I have got, I had gone down all the routes,
Okay.
so it
Okay.
was
Medication routes and
yep.
all those things. Okay.
Yep. I mean, yes, medications, doctor. I mean, not just like doctors, but RLS specialists.
Specialists even. Okay.
Yes. And so, and I think probably it was that too, because, once you see enough RLS specialists, you have trust issues. I mean, huge trust issues. I know I have huge trust issues with a lot of doctors and medical, anyways, that's for another time because of this.
Okay.
And so, you really want to, before you make a big decision, you want to really make sure it's the best route. So I think it took about 4 years for me to finally be like, doing this.
Did you feel like you weren't listened to, or what did you?
Oh, 1000%.
Even because I hear that quite a bit sometimes.
I mean, but even by the people who were RLS experts, who were other, who said like they were everyone's, last, what is it called? Last resort. Yes, last resorts.
Last resort. Okay.
I mean, even the RLS specialists did not or wouldn't listen. Like wouldn't. It was very eye-opening, this whole journey, and
very frustrating. Okay.
Beyond frustrating.
So when you heard about this, did it kind of make sense to you at first, or not? What I do?
So over time, it did.
Okay.
Over time, it just, and that's also why, because I was like, you know what? All the stuff that I'm watching all of his videos. I read your book. I was like, you know what? It did. There were a lot of connections that I felt that didn't make sense for any other ways, like the medication route. Or I was like, you know what? I think this is a nerve. This has to be a, not technical. What do you say? Mechanical.
Mechanical. Yeah, always the term mechanical. Meaning there's pressure on those nerves in your legs, and that's how we'd like to look at. That's potentially the biggest problem for probably most of the patients that have RLS out there.
Well, I can tell you one is massages, like massages.
Right. Yes.
I would have a massage, and
it would help, right?
No, it was
it hurt. It probably hurt in the areas where the toes were.
didn't even hurt. It started the RLS. I mean, it would be,
Did it stimulate it?
yeah. And all of a sudden my RLS would be like, it would turn it on like that.
Ramped
Like,
it up.
and,
Okay.
and I would, have to take my medication or whatever. Anyways, I only did
Right.
that a couple of times because I realized, but I was like, if it's not mechanical, like how come I've had all these experiences? Anyways, that's just one.
That's really cool you say that, because some people, I don't know if they're insightful or intuitive, they just kind of sense. If you read the book and you kind of know where the tunnels are, they kind of go, oh, well, it seems like my symptoms are maybe kind of emanating from that area, or that location is kind of sensitive, or maybe get a little cramping in there. Is that indicating? Did that indicate with you?
Well, it was the point. This sounds kind of violent, but I mean, it's real. Like in the middle, when you have it bad enough, and you are up forever, and you're trying to get rid of it, and you're just trying to do anything to make it stop for a second. You'll like punch your leg and whatever, and like bounce your leg on your other knee and stuff. And it was in the exact places that all the nerves were.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's it like now? Give people listening just a sense of what your nights are like now compared to before.
I mean, it's like night and day.
Really?
Or night and night. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm still getting off of the medication. I was on a high dose of pramipexole. And this is probably a me thing because I've been on it for almost 20 years I realized, I couldn't live without it before. So I'm going very slow, tapering down. But I can tell you, I could not go to sleep for days without it. And
okay.
I am able to now take just barely any. And it
Right.
lasts me, all night. I'm not waking up with it like I was. There's so many just simple things that people don't realize. People think, oh, restless legs, your legs are going to be bouncing and all the thing, your legs are going to go crazy and you're going to lose sleep or whatever. Yeah, but it affects, obviously, losing sleep affects everything. But even like taking naps, like during the day.
Right.
If I did want to take a nap during the day, I would have to take my medicine.
Right.
Because even just relaxing during the day, I couldn't do that unless I took a medication. And then if I took the medication though, I would be so groggy that I would lose the day. So it was affecting your whole life. I mean, even just things like being able to sit down for a movie. Like I can sit down and watch an entire movie with my husband now. Like
that's wonderful. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so Jen, you came with her.
Yes,
and I need to let her speak because she's
Yeah.
I know she's part of the team, I guess. She came here and I felt like you bounced things off of her, like you really needed her support, which is really special and sweet. I could sense that with the two of you. This is the chemistry there. Like she kind of supported you or maybe helped you even decide to come here. I don't know, but why don't you tell your part of this, Jen?
Well,
how you fit into this?
She reached out to me, and we've been friends since 14. We've been in each other's weddings. Like it's kind of like when you know your friend, even though you don't talk every day, and they call you up and I need you to go here with me, and I'm like, Colorado? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. And then I figured it out, and her parents helped us, but it was kind of like interesting because I didn't know anything about it, and usually I know everything, and this was her time to know everything.
Her time.
We're going, here's when we have to go. Here's what you're going to do. And then my husband can come the next week. And I was like, well, I've never been to Colorado, so this is kind of weird. But if this is the way I'm going to get to go here, here's how I'm going. And then it turned into like everything we do always turns into something funny. Like we became instantly friends with you. Her parents would call me and say, okay, what's this place like? Is it clean? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's very nice. Everybody is helpful. You walk in, they stand up, they greet you, and you listen to us for hours. And that was very important for her dad to hear that because he is very particular. And so, and of course, as a, even though we're in our 40s now, I caught up to her. He's still her dad, and he still treats me like he's my dad. and you're
Right.
always going to worry, but you also have to like let your children go and do what they need to
Sure.
do. They have researched, and I think he was pretty proud of her that she took the time to do it, and she had to convince him a little bit, but then he was
Right.
okay. It's like, well, if Jen's going, at least we have somebody else there in the beginning, and they know I'm going to ask
Sounds-
4 billion questions, and I'm
Right.
going to be with my phone. I was updating everybody along the
Right.
way.
Remember, she took
Mhm.
video of everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
You're ready to go back to the airport and fly away if it wasn't appropriate, I suppose.
No,
But I felt like you got a whole like, because, you know, I had lived with it for
Oh,
so
yeah.
long, like it was just such a normal thing. And even my own family was like, oh yeah, RLS, yeah, you lose sleep, yeah, you
Well, yeah.
have all these medication things. And
Yeah,
so
I didn't know anything
so
about
she,
it.
I mean, you knew like
I knew
barely.
her stuff about it, but then she
Right.
gave me a book, and she's like,
Well,
researched and shared with me and educated me, and I was like, oh, this must be really.
Right.
I could tell she was passionate about it. And she
Right.
took time to research, so it was like, okay,
Right.
she's doing, so I'm on her side, and let's go.
and
I think it gave her some reassurance. I mean, just bouncing it off of you as a close friend, the trust that you have. It was very,
for sure.
kind of very special. Okay. That you did that. I really appreciate it.
I think
Yeah.
you seeing me like cry and pour my heart out to you when I got
Right.
there. It's
Right.
been 4
Oh, yeah,
years. I'm in this.
Oh, I remember that. I'm just
Yeah, like-
thinking about that. My staff warned me. I said, hey, before I walked in there, said,
When she walked up
Dr.
there,
Anderson,
she was like, hold on a minute.
she's pretty
And
emotional. Yeah, no, because I remember you thinking, oh my God, this is my last hope. This has got to work. I mean,
and it's
I
kind of like
think,
a relief, like, okay, we're here. We're walking
Right.
in the door. This is what I've been looking forward to for 4 years.
right,
Here we go. And she had to pause and take a breath. And I remember I took a picture because I could tell, you know, as a
Right.
friend, like, this is her moment. And here we go. And
But
she's
I don't-
doing it.
I don't even think she realized.
No,
like,
I didn't know
until
it then.
like how much, you know, because you just learn to live with it for so
Sure.
long. You get to
Right.
this moment, you're like,
right. If I want to ask one more question, and we probably ought to, because you and I, the three of us could keep talking. I just know.
Sure.
But just for those listening again, what if you had to do it over? Would you have done anything different, or how would you approach it different? For those listening, anything you'd tell them, maybe that would help them.
you mean done the whole RLS thing over, or?
Yeah, just I mean, you learned about it, and what would you have done something differently about learning about it, or I mean, just any. I mean, I'm just taking the people that are out there listening. Is there some advice that you would give them? Maybe that's an easier way to say it.
Is there somewhat
It's some advice that you would give them if they're looking at this option. What would you tell people that are they're maybe like you, because you are somewhat skeptical? How should they? What would they? If you're talking to them right now, what would you say to them to
So
help them?
I would say, it's okay to go against the grain.
Okay.
To if you know, you know, really believe in something and you know something in your heart and you really don't, even with your experiences, if they don't match up to others, and
Right.
anyways, I wish I hadn't taken 4 years is basically what I'm saying. I wish I
Right.
had done this sooner.
Kind of gone with
because-
your heart or your gut.
Yes, because I had, you know, been through so much stuff before.
Right.
But then in the 4 years, I was like, you know what? Okay, hold on. I haven't done this and this. And like, these are literally the very last things that I have not done yet.
Right.
Then I'll go to Dr. Anderson. And I wish I hadn't done that because
I see.
I knew, because I didn't think they were going to work anyways.
Sure.
But you feel like a crazy person when you borrow less because
Right.
no, you know, a lot of people don't have it. So.
Right. Yeah, it's an emotional chip. It's an emotional chip for people. And I think what you're saying is when you go to doctors, it's frustrating. Maybe it's frustrating for them because there's not much they can offer. And you do start to think there's something wrong with you. And you're perfectly fine. It's just, it's a mechanical thing and it's not your fault. And it's not in your brain. It's a real mechanical thing. And I think just people knowing that, even if they never came here and they just know that, sometimes I have people say, well, that's kind of reassuring just to know that I'm okay. And it's just, there's something going on down there in my legs and maybe they don't have a lot of control over that. So, because I truly believe for many people, and we'll probably learn this more in the future, but I don't have I have a lot of anecdotal information to prove it, but not a lot of research papers, but that, there's probably a congenital component to this. Like many people do inherit the potential for this. I mean, because half the people usually have somebody else in the family that has restless legs.
My mom.
So,
My mom.
Your mom, there you go. Yep. So we better close it up. I really want to thank you for your heartfelt message. I mean, that's really sweet. I can tell you still pretty passionate about the whole idea.
It makes me go back to that. It's been so long now, but I can go back there like that.
You can go back there real quick. And Jen, thank you for participating tonight. You're very supportive, and I know it wasn't easy to get you both together, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
And I think I'll close it out by just saying thank you, and maybe we'll be in touch later. And you're really
Pickleball.
What's that?
You need to
Pickleball.
come
Yeah,
play pickleball.
I want to
us.
see you in a pickleball championship tournament on TV someday. We're going to get back to pickleball. My wife had some stuff done recently, so we're with her knee, but we're going to get back on pickleball courts. We like to play, so it's a great sport. And so anyway, what's that?
Well, thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, Jen's a really good pickleball player for those watching.
I'm gonna be a pro soon.
Don't be pro.
Bye.
But anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Love the testimony you gave for other people out there. You gave some other people hope. And for those of you that are new to this, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Please consider reading my book. It's called A Perfect Night's Sleep. You can buy that on Amazon. It helps kind of give the story about how I kind of came about doing this and some of the research I've done. Also, some really good testimonials are in that book. But I guess that's it. I got to say goodbye. And again, thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
See ya.